Good afternoon, 7 minutes past 4. And we'll start this afternoon by saying a final farewell to the Teesside troubadour, our very own Vin Garbutt. Hundreds of people were at Middlesbrough Cathedral this afternoon for the funeral. Now reporter Lee Johnson was outside the cathedral as family, friends, colleagues and fans gathered to say their last goodbye.
Yeah, Guy, around 800 people gathered to say goodbye to Vin Garbutt. A staggering number of people turned up. And that's just a huge indicator, isn't it, of just how popular Vin Garbutt and his music were. Not just here on Teesside, but across the world. His family say they've been amazed by the thousands of messages they've had from across the world. Indeed, some of those paying their respects today travelled from as far as Malaysia. Now, one man who was there today was Paul O'Neill. He went to school with Vin. He knew him for 50 years and went to a lot of his early shows.
He was funny and he was good. Because it wasn't just the songs, it was a patter. Yeah, let's get it right. Vin was known for his patter as much as his songs. Yeah, okay?
Just as much as a comedian as a musician, then?
Just as much a comedian and musician, and there's a lot of people who have said that. People like Mike Harding, Jasper Carrott, who all came out of folk clubs, right, as comedian singers, right? Vin was the best. Simple as that.
Now, Vin was also tremendously well respected amongst his fellow musicians. He didn't just have the patter, as we heard there. He could play, he could write, often songs that were all about his experiences here on Teesside and growing up here. Now, local singer-songwriter Pete Davies met Vin in the early 70s and he became good friends with him when he moved up here to Teesside.
He was a star, but he wasn't like a star. He made everybody feel special. He had a real charisma about him. It was a bit like a Pied Piper. If you went anywhere, people always wanted to talk to Vin and say, I saw you perform at so-and-so back in 1970 thing. I was an apprentice with you at ICI. I did this, I did that. Everybody had a story to tell to Vin and Vin also had a story to tell back. And he was just very charismatic, incredibly talented musician, great songwriter, wonderful raconteur and great comedian, just a wonderful stage presence and a wonderful human being. Genius, really. I mean, I don't use that word lightly, an absolute genius.
Now, you mentioned Vin Garbutt was known across the whole of the globe, and he was a bit of a trailblazer too, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Those that knew him said he was just at home playing a set in Normanby or South Bank as he was in Europe or Australia, and he was one of the first folk artists to travel and tour Australia in the 70s. Now, there's a documentary called The Teesside Troubadour, which was made by local filmmaker Craig Hornby. Now, he was there to pay his respects today, and he told me about his experiences travelling with Vin on the road and how that led him to becoming a friend as well.
10 years ago, I went on tour with him around the world. We went to Australia, Malaysia, Canada, we went into Europe, we went to Belfast, London, and a number of gigs across the rest of Britain. So you get to know a person pretty well, you know, and he's one of the most positive, upbeat people, no matter what's going on, whether you're lost, whether you're late, or all the sort of calamities on the road, you know, and it was pretty chaotic. And he's done it for 45 years, singing those songs, and 16 albums. What a legacy he's left behind, you know. A really special person. I mean, he was precious, his story was precious, that's why I made the film. What I didn't expect was for it to be so precious so soon, you know. It's a real it's a shock, you know. I can't believe it. The man had a heart as big as Teesside, you know.
And how, I mean, you've kind of touched on it there, but how will you remember him? How do you think Teesside will remember him?
Hopefully with a statue. I've been asked about it. There'll be tribute concerts, no doubt. That's been mentioned. Somebody emailed the other day and said, start a campaign to get a statue built. There should be one, you know. I'd love to see that.
Thank you very much there, Lee. Tributes there to Vin Garbutt, legendary Teesside folk musician whose funeral was held earlier today.
Gary Phillipson on BBC Tees.